Hi, this is Kitty Anderson and Coco. I am a board certified menopause coach. I'm 64 years old and I'm approaching 65, and I have had close to 15 years use of HRT. And I've only used the best HRT, so I've used transdermal estradiol, micronized oral progesterone, and transdermal testosterone. I also add a few other things that I call HRT plus. HRT plus. So I discovered some other things when my estradiol was too low. And the thing I've learned, and I've put a few videos out on this, is that your doctor does not know your dose. So, so here it is, June 2022, and we are coming out of a pandemic. We're coming out of a pandemic, and poor Gen Z has been through so much that I just watched a video that said anxiety and depression are trendy now. Anxiety and depression are trendy now. This is like it's not even an issue. It's not something to worry about. Well, I want to fix that. I think if we're nuts if we accept anxiety and depression. And I can tell you the fact that I didn't know that HRT is linked to anxiety and depression was a real educational issue for me. So that's the message here today, is that I want to make sure you know these two things are linked, they're lockstep, and that you could be the kind of woman that needs a high dose of estradiol and a higher dose of testosterone. My theory is all women need estradiol, progesterone, and testosterone. Doesn't matter your symptoms, does not matter. It can't matter because these things all were a part of ovulation and having a period. So they were all high and you were healthy. And now they're all gone and you feel horrible. You feel horrible. So I just want to let you know that some women are feeling better, way better in one day. I've had clients that feel better in one day on a high enough dose. So you're one day away from anxiety and depression just dissolving out of your life. And when it does, it gives you time to understand your children, understand your husband. You're ready to fight for your health. You're ready to fight for your family. You are ready to, I can't say entirely take on what's in the news these days. I mean, it is horrible. We are in a really, we are just painted into a corner. And if you watch too much of the news, yes, that's going to push you under. So, part of coaching, of course, is to help you make an action plan so that you start to feel resilient. You start to feel your old self. You should feel premenopausal happy. You should not be struggling for emotional health. I know that we're going through a lot. I know. And I'm not trying to belittle what we're going through. What we're going through is real. There's some real changes that we're going to have to make. Um, and it's really, really tough. But you've got to have that foundational health put in place. Get that HRT, put it in place, then you can layer in diet and exercise, and you'll have the chemistry that's required to be happy and healthy. That's what we want for you. That is entirely what we want for you. What's a little bit hard for me right now, and this is very personal, is my daughter. went through student teaching for becoming a teacher for immigrant children, actually, an ESL teacher, English as a second language. And so she went through that this year with masks on. So, in a very stressful environment, where in elementary school, they actually, I'm going to have to put Coco down, she's making me nuts. Where in elementary school, they actually sent the entire student body of a classroom home if somebody had a COVID test, right? So she had to clean the teaching environment, the classroom space every single day before the kids came in and after the kids were leaving. She had a lot of trouble getting to know children. She saw a lot of children under duress. She saw a really super stressful environment. So she's so aware. And then near the end of student teaching in March, I think they took the mask mandate off and they started to see smiles again. They started to see happiness in the children. And so it's hard for me because my daughter has chosen this as a life. This is her life, and she's starting to apply to jobs where she's going to be in a school and be subject to this massive emotional pressure. What I didn't realize is that her emotions were so out of sync, like she didn't have enough knowledge, I think, to be able to understand that this was all going to pass, right? So I know you are watching your kids go through something similar. It's just we're all in this. We're all in this together. So so I'm looking at my son just took a car trip all the way down to Florida to go to Epcot Center and to Harry Potter World, right? These were his first books, his first video games, his first everything. And he's trying to draw a line between COVID and his life. He just graduated undergrad. My daughter's got a master's. He just graduated undergrad and he needs something to like separate himself from COVID. That it was so crushing for him. He's a very connected and social person. And so I'm watching my kids kind of go through this and it reminds me of us. The other thing I've been reading is something called the Swan study. And so this is a 23-year study and it does have some major um, impacts of menopause. So they're watching women from kind of age forward 40 to like 63 roughly. And in that time frame, the women that did not get HRT had an average of 7.4 years where they couldn't learn anything. They couldn't learn anything. Their brains were remodeling and restructuring. And we've seen this. If you've emailed me, you've seen this in my emails. And I'll put the brain mapping here so that you can see it. This is absolutely killing me. Anxiety and depression are not trendy. This is hormone based. Let's get you stabilized on HRT and then we can optimize diet and exercise. The SWAN study was a 23-year study. So they were following women for many years and they found a significant increase in anxiety and depression. And this is understandable. Anxiety is low estradiol, depression is low testosterone. Now this just shows you how horribly written some of these studies are. This is the highlight saying depressive symptoms and anxiety are somewhat higher. How misleading is that? How crazy misleading is that? But they were able to track it back to stressful life events, financial strain, low social support, sleep problems, and low physical activities. And of course, we know these things affect us, but the hormones are foundational. We do know testosterone is related to depressive symptoms, but nobody's standing up for women getting testosterone. Here's where the detail is buried in the SWAN mental health study. So, a separate study. It does not get the press. And it says you are 2 to 4 times more likely to have an increase in depression around menopause. So, this 23-year study, 1.7% of women have a healthy lifestyle. So this is out of thousands and thousands of women. 1.7% have diet and exercise in their life. This just makes me feel lonely. I can't tell you how hard I worked to get diet and exercise into my life every day. So you must really be struggling. You are not alone. This is an incredible transition time. What they're not saying in the study is with HRT, at the right dose, it's easy to diet and exercise. Estradiol controls your attitudes towards food. Testosterone controls your mood and helps you add muscle. It gives you the energy to exercise. This is all so important, and they are just missing the boat in this study. So as I promised, here are the brain scans. And the premenopause woman on the far left has a lot of activity in her brain. The red is the most active areas of the brain. That means the brain is having energy. The brain cells are actually working. The brain cells are not dying. And you can see perimenopause in the center and postmenopause have less red, so they have less active brain cells. This is going to destroy you. This is buried in the Alzheimer's research. I am so sorry. It is not given to you, but I put this on every single one of my emails. Unfortunately, most of you are not emailing me. I use my email all throughout my videos, but women are not stepping forward. They are so afraid of HRT. So this is what you're giving up. These brain cells are what you are giving up. I'm very sorry. From the SWAN study, we learned that women of different races experience menopause differently. There are some genetic issues, and there are many, many stress-related issues. And then there's subcultures within minority, even white society, right? So there's something in our culture that puts pressures on women that creates stress that makes menopause worse. It makes menopause worse. So all these things are playing into it. You're not imagining anything. It's not 100% hormonal. Stressful life events will cripple you while your hormones are fluctuating. It will cripple you. And you can get HRT support in perimenopause. In perimenopause, go to your doctor as soon as your periods are irregular. And if you have not had a period for 60 days, count those days, 60 days, you are very, very likely to be right at the final menstrual period. You're very likely to be there. So their life is very predictable. That crash and burn experience is going to stick with you until you get your HRT, nutrition, movement, you get all those things in place. So I will say in perimenopause that I was in such a weakened state. And because my mother died at 60 and she became a shut-in at 50, so I knew my life was going to have to twist around. I was going to have to make some big changes. And I was in just a neighborhood with women 10 years younger than me. So really and it was a new city for us and it was a new neighborhood. So all of my social connections were 10 years younger and they were not in the space that I was in. So I kind of folded in on myself. I still stayed connected, was active with people and still did it, but I was kind of going through the motions. And then I'll say later when they pulled me down on my estradiol, I had a lot of problems with social relationships, lots and lots of problems with friendships. And only when my estradiol was boosted, I started stepping forward. I started being proactive and I started selecting people that I wanted to work with. I started finding people that were going to help me, finding people that nurture me, finding people that really support me and my goals. And also, I ended up asking my husband for more. I ended up asking for more and working very independently from my husband. So I didn't divorce. Not that, I don't know, you might need to divorce. I have no idea. So, but all the social relationships kind of twisted and turned. And the stronger I came with the high dose HRT, the better I was at helping others and choosing supportive friendships. That really got a lot better. So I'm feeling very positive about the future. All this changes in the 3 years around menopause. So you have to make these changes. But they also were tracking the levels of depression being much higher in the group within this group of women. There was a group that took HRT and a group that did not take HRT. And so they could tell the rate of depression is a higher level of magnitude. So depression is serious in menopause. We are not Gen Z. We're not growing up with anxiety and depression. We know of a non-depressive state. So I think that that's really important is that you can go back there. You need to use some tools and you need to use whatever's at your fingertips, right? So any doctor any OBGYN should be able to help you in America get the problem of HRT solved. And then if you need additional things, I've got a list of additional things here that you can experiment with, that you can try. And 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 all of these things have made me so resilient, so happy, so able to endure a pandemic. Um, so I just wanted to share with you, please don't let your depression be an expectation of depression. We have to stop expecting this. I know we've been through a lot, but we can be resilient. We can be strong. And you can be strong for your children who are going through this crazy, crazy time of life here in the United States, or maybe everywhere because of digital things, right? One key thing that we put together in coaching is a nurturing network. And so you've never really thought of this. You've always been the woman who could do everything, the woman that didn't need a network of people to support her. She was supporting a network. But now you need people to help you. You need to discern who is emotionally helping and who is emotionally hurting me. So there will be different people taking a different line. So you'll see some women bringing in sugary sweets for you every single day to make sure that you're on their bandwagon, that you do not get healthy. So you're going to say, oh, well, I kind of have to separate from that while I'm working out my issues with food because you're guaranteed to have issues with food. I'm not going to get political. In fact, I won't ever get political on this channel, but I will say there is a lot of pain in the world. And our job is still to resolve pain. That's still your job. You are mothering the earth. You are mothering your children as young adults. You are mothering other people's children as young adults. And when we are good friends to each other, we are also using qualities of motherhood. So these are still important. These are hormone driven. You're not going to feel any of those beautiful qualities that make you a human female, right? It comes from the hormones. In fact, our ability to see emotions in someone else's face is all related to estradiol. So that means our connectedness, our responsiveness is all related to estradiol. Do not live without this. You need those connections. Those connections will protect you. Those connections will inform you. It will change your perception of the world. If you are shallow and feeling dead inside, you're doing nobody any good. Do not sit still on this. Do not say, oh, uh, it's too big of a problem for me to work on. No, you can't do that. You have to work on it. We need you. We need you. We need you happy, healthy. We need you contributing the way you always have. We want you back in the game. Yeah. Let me put this really simply. High anxiety means low estradiol. High levels of depression means low testosterone. Look at those two things. Get those up, up, up. I also want to say that I was learning this morning about the receptors, that the hormones coming through the blood and lands on a receptor. So some women, the receptors are shaped differently and they do better with low level estradiol support products. Other women need a very high level of estradiol support products. And then there's interaction between estradiol, progesterone, and testosterone. So as you move one, you're going to impact the others. So move one at a time, and assess the impact. If your estradiol is making you wired, then it is too high. If your breasts are tight and engorged, it is too high, right? So you bounce that down a little bit. But progesterone has kind of a depression effect for many, many women. And so you can counterbalance that with testosterone. You can do that. You can lower the progesterone dose. You can use vaginal progesterone. There's a lot of ways to do that. See my video on progesterone reaction. See my playlist on testosterone. This is all playing into your mental health. It's wonderful. Network is going to support you during this time. You're going to figure out your financial capability when it comes to HRT. And I don't want you to back into the products based on your finances. What I need you to do is absorb the importance of HRT and understand that spending more on transdermal is more important because of mental health, right? So it keeps you mentally strong, whereas oral is unpredictable. It is not good. Compounded is not good. Pellets are not good. I want you to go to transdermal estradiol. It's predictable, it's reliable. I want you to push to a high enough dose to try and get you through this. I want you to use just enough micronized oral progesterone to get you to sleep, make you feel calm, relax your muscles a little bit, right? So all these things have a beautiful function in your body. I want you to get enough testosterone to feel sassy and motivated and confident and zippity-doo, right? That's what you're here for. You're here to get this solved. So you're going to work out the finances. I pay about $75 a month until I hit my deductible, and then I pay nothing. So testosterone is iffy. I don't know if your insurance will cover it or not. So I want to make sure you get financial resources together, get organized. Don't discount the HRT if you can't find the money. Figure out a way to get the HRT. Figure out a way to get it. It's going to help you fight the battles that are ahead of us. We have battles. We have aging. We have aging discrimination. We're going to have job discrimination. We're still female. We have all the patriarchy to worry about. We have all of this stuff. And you still have to fight it. And the only way you can fight it is when you adopt the HRT and get good mental health. That's what we want for you. That's what we want. You can email me at jumpstartaip@gmail.com and I'll help you out. Thanks.